Hello and welcome to another episode of the program Rethinking Nigeria, a Perspective. I'm Lanre Lasese. Now, as you know, this program focuses on the national conference, which is taking place in the capital city, Abuja. Each committee of the national conference have been asked to complete their work within 2 weeks. Now, that is actually 6 working days because of the public holidays in between. They're to come up with recommendations on issues such as religion, devolution of powers, and national security. Now, the committees commenced work this week, and we have a short report on how the week progressed. And we also have a chat with our regular guest on how the week went. Let's start with the report on the committee's first week.
After weeks of meeting in plenary, delegates at the National Conference resumed from their Easter break to their respective committees to commence a more critical part of the assignment. Some of the committees commenced by trying to decide on their work plan.
Most of the issues we are going to discuss have been recommended, particularly the political conference of 2005, as a very detailed set of recommendations. So I think our job really is to review. What we don't agree, we say we don't agree. What we want to add, we add.
It is not feasible for us to discuss these issues one by one and everybody brainstorm and come to an agreement. We should rather decide whether we are taking one of these committees, as he said, and come up with their recommendations and now get a consensus on the ones we agree and not agree.
Then certain things I would like us to discuss in some detail. Concepts that we all believe in that may come up as obstacles later on. I would like us to share our thoughts on the meaning, the implication of fairness in discussion. I would also like us to discuss bigotry. What exactly is it? How does it manifest?
The issue of the amount of work on ground and the time available was also discussed and considered in other committees.
The chairman brought a proposal so that we can make up the time. One, we have our break, we reduce it from 2 hours to 1 hour. And instead of us to start by 10, we'll start by 9 from tomorrow. And we extend our own up to 6:30. Then we have considered Fridays and Saturdays, if the need arises, to make sure that we are able to finish our work within the 2 weeks framework.
If we have more time, then we probably will be able to discuss more. But for now, we left the meetings today with all kinds of assignments. Many of us will have to work far into the night to get our papers ready for the meeting tomorrow. So it's a lot of hard work, and we hope to work within the time available.
During the week, the Committee on Devolution of Powers told journalists that they were only allowed to cover the committee's opening ceremony and not its proceedings. The conference assistant secretary, James Akpandem, however, intervened, saying journalists are allowed to cover the entire proceedings of the committee.
You are talking about one committee out of 20, and that it is because the leadership of that committee thought that it was a classified thing. But the moment the leadership was told that it is not, that they can allow people, and they said it's okay. I mean, nobody's trying to stop anybody from covering anything.
Some committees broke into smaller groups to get more work done, while others, like the Committee on Immigration and Related Matters, invited resource persons to brief them.
There are only 84 control posts in Nigeria, including land, air, and sea. In the northern part of the country, it's fairly open, so we can have quite a number of illegal routes that people pass through. In the southwest, it's not that open. And in the eastern part of the country, it's a mix of mountainous regions, open regions, and the rainforest down the south of it.
While the discussion was orderly in some committees, it was very heated in others, such as the Committee on Devolution of Power.
What basically we have in front of us is what we said. Can you read out the B? You are not the process. Can you read out the B? Mr. Chairman, we also. No, we don't. chairman. You don't only one man to be talking. It's a member of one man to this again. They only speak along the lines. One man alone will be talking and you allow him, and when another person wants to talk, he said, don't talk.
This week, the youth delegation at the conference have expressed their dissatisfaction with the exclusion of youths in important committees.
How come we were omitted from the equal critical issues like devolution of power, restructuring of government, public service, political parties? Was this a deliberate attempt to silence our view on political issues or another omission?
When it comes to the outcome of the plenary, we're not, like we've stated, we're not walking out of the conference. It's very important to state that. But what we are saying is that we'll take every opportunity at the plenary to reject any position or any decision or any outcome that we're not a party to.
Some of the delegates spoke on the work being done by their committees.
And, like I said, people have applied themselves to the task given to them. They have been very, very committed and dedicated. Obviously, I'm not saying this because I'm a member of that committee. You can't possibly ask for more than that. I don't know. You can't, whatever it is this committee has done cannot be quantified in money terms. But I'm happy that I belong to this committee.
Well, we broke ourselves into subcommittees of about 4 or 5 members each, with specific multitasking that covers the broad range of Nigeria's foreign policy now and the grand strategy for the future. And this includes economic diplomacy, concentric principle, the issue of now medium powers, how we can interface this post-Tafawa Balewa foreign policy into the new millennium.
The Committee on the Electoral Matters have taken very seriously the issue of political parties, formation of parties, organization of parties, funding of parties, internet democracy within the parties, and the role of political parties in the general democratic process.
A very eventful week it was. Now, let's turn to our chat with our regular guest at Pt.1, the president and founder of ANAP Foundation, a non-profit organization committed to promoting good governance, and he's also a delegate at the national conference. He started by telling me what it was like commencing committee work for delegates at the national conference. I would like to take you up on this week's proceeding. It is the first week of committee activities. Yes. And I would like to understand, as a delegate, what has it been like commencing the break from plenary to coming into committees?
Well, I think it's good that we went into the second phase because it was always part of our work plan. And also the committees are more focused in the sense that they have a subject area. So everybody in the committee is meant to be focusing on a particular subject area. Yes. So the discussions there are a lot more detailed. There's more scope for homework. Indeed, even papers that were submitted by the general public that pertain to the work of your committee are sent to your committee. So I've read so many submissions by various Nigerians on matters that are before my committee. Okay. That's the whole idea, because I'm sure you're aware that we decided to invite from the public, submissions. So if a submission comes relevant to your committee's work, that submission is sent to your committee for those in the committees to look at it and see whether they can buy ideas from it.
So I would like to understand from you, did you get a lot of...
We got quite, so far we have gotten some submissions, but those are the formal ones. Okay. There are also the informal ones. To the extent that you're a Nigerian and there are 170 million Nigerians, many of whom are interested. Every day, everybody receives text messages, phone calls, emails, words of advice. Even people see you on the street and tell you, look, when you get there, there's this issue of X, Y, Z. All that just confirms that Nigerians are interested in the national conference. They're optimistic and they're hoping that something good will come out of it. Even if they're not sure of the outcome, they want their voices to be heard. That's why they're giving you the ideas. Because they want to take part. They want to tell you that you guys don't forget this, don't forget that. So it's good.
Now, teething problems. Some committees have had some time settling down. We've heard of rowdy sessions, the Committee on Devolution of Powers outside shutting out journalists for a while. Also we heard like even on Wednesday, they went into some rowdy shouting matches and all that.
See, to be very honest with you, I would have been very surprised if 20 committees met on contentious national issues. And there was never a time when in any one of the committees, tempers were raised, there was some shouting, there was agitation, emotions came out. Look, why are we having a national conference? We're having a national conference because there are serious problems that Nigerians have identified. You're not going to get solutions to serious problems and build consensus without having different points of view. And if people come for a meeting with positions that they hold firmly, and want to try and convince you on those positions, and you disagree completely. I mean, in the course of the exchange, it is natural and expected that if they're all deeply committed, emotions will run high and some might spill over. So all that, for me, is something that was expected. Indeed, the converse I would have found very disturbing, which is there are burning national issues. Nigerians are concerned, they're sending you messages and complaining about this and that and the other. And then the delegates just come out, they're receiving some allowances, and they just sit down smiling and just saying, oh, there's no problem, everything is fine. They're doing high fives, backslapping. And at that point, you wonder that, look, this guy is serious. So I think all that emotion and frustration and anger and shouting you see shows you that some people came to this conference committed. They understand the issues, they feel the pain of various groups in Nigeria, and they want to communicate. So to me, it's a welcome development. Of course, at the end of the day, we want all that to be controlled. We want all that energy to be channeled towards a positive outcome. And that is the work of the committee chairpersons and the overall conference chairman and vice chairman. And of course, many of us are willing to also help to steer the whole process. You want to bring the ship home, ultimately. You may ride through stormy waters, but you want to navigate and bring it home.
Okay, but don't you also have this fear that this rowdiness may be transported, the ship, as you said, through the General House in plenary?
You know, let me tell you the truth, and I've said it before. I don't think anybody believes or imagined that some issues which are so important, like devolution, will be resolved only at the committee stage. The committee stage is only the first leg. So whatever you decide, don't forget that almost all of us wanted to be on that same committee. Only 25 people were chosen. So whatever those people come up with, they still have to sell it to the main house. I will even go as far as saying that those committees who were charged with not so controversial subjects may actually find that if they do their work well, it will be smooth sailing when they come to the main house, because most people don't have interest in those issues. And for as long as what you're saying is half reasonable, they will just endorse it and move on, so as to create time for the big contentious issues. Those big issues will be resolved in plenary, because everybody has a view. That is to be expected. And that's why I'm not even remotely sad that I'm not in Committee A or Committee B. Because whoever is in that committee, I've already told them, when you finish a deliberation, you still come back and meet us. Because we can only move forward when there's consensus. And you cannot buy consensus simply by excluding people from a committee. Because the committee still has to come back and meet those same people. So it's the power of the ideas you come out with and your ability to sell them to everybody else that will count in the end.